What's up, NBA world? Welcome to another episode of Undrafted Hoops Talk. I'm your boy Joey B. Pretty pumped up. It's our second YouTube show. It's a little bit more set up this week. Got a little backdrop, got a headset, got a tripod. Trying to do this thing with some of my boys. But I want to first off say, make sure you bang, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's much appreciated. All the comments also appreciate it. We'll also try to make sure we check the comments and respond back to you. And I love the interaction. I could talk basketball all day, every day. Also, we're on Facebook. It's where we got our roots dug in, our first brick, as Josh would like to say. We used to be known as Give and Go. Recently changed it up. Going for a little bit of a brand change. We're going to go with Undrafted Hoops. So far, it looks pretty good. And with the expansion, we also moved to Twitter at Undrafted Hoops _. Basically, everything we're posting on our Facebook, but a little bit more easier to interact, I should say. But I'm pretty pumped up. We just want to get our opinion out there, and we want you to tell us we're wrong so we can try to tell you why we're right. But let's see who we got with me today. I believe Tony G is going to be on the mic today. See if I can get my man Tony G on the big screen. Oh, he's peeking.
There we go.
Look at that, man. Sasquatch of hoops right there.
Yeah. Got my Sixers.
How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right.
Did Doc Rivers leave you that?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I got it. Picked his up after he, got on the plane out of here.
It was trash day in Philly today, so they probably had some of his stuff, still at the curb. If you looked in the box, you might have seen this. Oh God. Tony G. Gary is so hard. Look at him. He stole that broom from work.
What can I tell you guys? The broom came out.
He don't care about the Wizards.
The broom came out. Not even the Wizards get swept when they play in the playoffs. At least we get a game
That's
against
fucked up,
the Sixers last time we made it. Westbrook got a game against Philly.
Yeah, all right, so before we get into Game 5, Gary, Tony G, this brings up a good point. It's no secret. We all know you're a Wizards fan. They hire the Clippers GM. I can't tell you his name because I don't know. Tony G, I know he knows.
Yeah, Michael Winger.
Yeah, Michael Winger.
Okay, so they unleashed the reins. They give him free reign and say he's going to do what he wants. So before we talk about Game 5, I just want to know, from a Wizards fan perspective, do they move on from Bradley Beal or do they build around him?
They're gonna keep Bradley Beal. They'll still just build around him. I mean, it's not what I think should happen, but it's what they're gonna do. They'll keep him.
All right. So I'm not going to jump. I just needed to know first reaction.
Yeah,
I got you out of here with the broom.
I personally want to see them get rid of Wes Unseld Jr., trade Bradley Beal, kind of just like complete reboot from the beginning. Keep a couple pieces. I love Bradley Beal, but I mean, $50 million a year, man, it's going to cripple us for 23 points a game.
Tony, Gary's ready for the off season so bad. He's so tired of watching other teams play.
No, I'm having a blast watching the playoffs. I'm not ready for the off season. I mean, there's nothing for me to look forward to in the off season. We're gonna screw up the 8th overall pick. We're gonna re-sign Kuzma and Porzingis.
You're passing the Wizards fandom test. You sound like every other Wizards fan I've ever met in my whole life.
I'll keep watching. I'll keep loving my But
Yo, Tony.
one day, maybe this.
Yo,
Maybe
Tony.
this guy.
No. I want to ask Tony, since he got Doc Rivers' sweatshirt out of the trash today. Did you happen to see a playbook, or was there no sign of one of them anywhere around?
It said isolation only.
ISO only?
Yeah.
Doc's playbook was 3 plays. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I extended the intros. Let's just dive right into Game 5. Right. The first series is a sweep. Denver finishes in a sweep, and it looks like the Celtics are dead in the water. Game 3, they look like they just look like they're ready to mail it in and focus on, like they were trying to beat the Wizards and be out of the playoffs. So they come back. They handle their business in Game 4, right? In Miami, very important game, and they comes to find out that Gabe Vincent is going to miss tonight's game. Now, Tony, I know you watched the game. What have you seen? Not what have you seen? Have you seen anything different at first glance that the Celtics are doing that puts them back in this series?
Yeah, just a lot of good spacing on offense and not as much one-on-one. It's more drive, kick, pass here, pass there. So, like, of course, they're shooting the 3 much better because their looks are a ton better. And then they really took advantage of the no Gabe Vincent. They upped their ball pressure. They double teamed quicker. They just knew with Kyle Lowry, like they had no one else who can beat them, get past that first man. So they just kind of packed it in and defended the passing lanes, and Miami couldn't really do much.
Do you think, Gary? Do you think that, like Tony's saying, do you think Miami has an in them? I know we're all big fans of Spoelstra, but now you kind of put the microscope directly back on Miami because Miami doesn't want to go to Boston, right? Now, do you think that the Celtics are able to, it seems unrealistic to come back down 3-0. I mean, teams don't do it. But I'm starting to feel like if anybody does it, that this team is capable, right?
I mean, if there's a matchup that's set up for it to happen, it's an 8 seed versus the 1 seed, like a hobbled, not the 1 seed, or the 2 seed. Either way, they're hobbled now. Lost Vincent, who's been one of their big contributors out of nowhere for them. They still don't have Harrow. Caleb Martin got a little banged up tonight. They're starting to wear down a little bit. Boston's a really good team, but you gotta put them away. And now that they're alive, maybe Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown were right when they said don't let us get one, because now they're starting to get momentum. And tonight, Tatum and Brown didn't even have that big of a game, so they got production from the other guys, Derek White and Marcus Smart, and still managed to have a big win. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I think they very well could be the first team to come back from 3-0.
Yeah, so the thing that Tony first says to me, I had the game. I listened to the whole second half on the way home from work, and the first thing Tony says to me that the Celtics they played a very unselfish basketball tonight. Now, when I hear that, that's the way Boston should play, in my opinion. They have enough shot makers where if you just make the right pass, get it to the open guy, you have such a better chance of making, especially against Miami. Now, without Vincent, they're a little slower. So they took advantage of it by moving the ball a little more. So that's another coaching change that Boston did. Now, Tony, let me ask you something, though. I believe Vincent probably misses Game 6, too, because sprained ankles are a motherfucker. And for him to miss this game, I know it's severe. Do you think Brogdon, losing him, is it going to be tough for Boston to overcome, regardless of Vincent coming back or not, like in Game 6?
No, not as much, because they're so deep, and it's playoff time. They'll just play Derek White like upwards to like near 40 minutes now, and I think he can. He's good in that role.
I seen Pritchard get some minutes tonight. You think that progresses through the series or no? Josh, put up the box scores.
Not
I'm going to look at it.
not many, not many. I think if in certain situations he could, maybe if he hits a shot or two or whatnot, but I think they're gonna like just try to get a few minutes out of him in a quarter here, quarter there.
I don't even want to give my prediction because I've been wrong. I mean, I thought Boston could have won game 2. They proved me wrong in game 4, and I thought that they could have won the night easily. I think Boston's the first team that will come back down 3-0. But that doesn't mean I don't think Miami's capable of closing it out. But 2 games in a row, Missoula made some definite Suno Gusto Selig. Someone like your broom, Gary. Someone like your broom. Now, I don't want to get thrown off of that, but I think Boston obviously needs to win both games. But in order to do that, yes, they might be a little bit more fatigued going into the next series, but it could be like a Red Sox momentum where you're in such a hole that when you dig yourself out of it, it's easier to get rolling on the surface once you reached it. So, like, I think the Nuggets are the world champions. I'm already putting my stake in. But if Boston does come back and complete this, the momentum could be – it's not like a baseball momentum is different than basketball. Basketball, you could get shut down by someone just playing that good. Doesn't matter what your momentum is. But I think if the Heat go to the finals and they win the series, I think they get massacred. But I think if Boston gets in, you take the momentum factor into it, and considering Boston's a really good team, I think that it really kind of puts pressure back on Denver. I think Denver has no pressure right now. And then if Boston comes back and wins the series, it now puts it on, are they going to be able to stop this freight train? 4 straight wins is, like Gary said, it's never been done. I was hesitant to say that because I wasn't sure. I know it's been done in hockey, right?
I'm honestly not sure. It might have
And
been
the Red Sox did it.
Flyers did it.
Oh, yeah, Flyers did it against the Blackhawks, and I know the Red Sox did it. But,
yeah, the Red Sox did it. I remember that against the Yankees.
What do you think? So obviously we know Denver advances. They sweep. Gary's already proved that point, and I try not to touch on it one more time tonight. But what do you think? Who does Denver want to play out of these 2? And who do you think wins the series? Or are you still on the fence and you're just going to let it play out?
I mean, I think Denver probably wants to play Miami. I feel like that's still a huge mismatch for them in every regard, except for, whatever the Jimmy Butler matchup is, I guess, But if they get to play Boston's actually got stars. They got depth. They got better players in general. They're just a better team than Miami, in my opinion. They just caught themselves in a hole. So, yeah, I do believe Boston's going to manage to come back and win this series. If they go to Miami and win Game 6, which I think they will, they're definitely going home and closing the series out.
You got to think smash in Game 7.
But I don't think momentum's necessarily going to matter that much for the Denver series because.
Well, Gary, think about the momentum though. The finals if it goes 7, they're only going to have 3 days off, I think. Where Denver's had off 10, they're on vacation. Joker's back home.
They're practicing hard all day.
No, I know.
Mike Malone Mike Malone's got them boys ready, but
no, I know. I'm just saying, there's a little bit of a lull.
I think even with Boston, they have a big mismatch. Who on Boston is going to stop Jokic? Sure, Horford's good defensively.
There's nobody in the league that can really stop
defensively, but Jokic is going to take advantage of those guys. Jokic destroys them defensively. Marcus Smart, I guess, he's the one that's going to have to stop Jamal Murray on the
Yeah,
outside.
I agree too.
But yeah, Joker destroys Boston. But I think Boston, Tatum and Brown, those guys will keep them in the series. That'll be a great series. But I think if they play Miami, I think that's a
No
really
doubt.
fast series.
I love to see Murray versus Jaylen Brown. That would be fun. That would be a cage off.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Murray versus Jaylen
Tony,
Brown.
how about you, brother?
Yeah, I definitely think they want to play the Heat. I mean, it will be a good series if Boston gets it done. I don't know. I think Heat have a chance if Gabe Vincent is like 80%. But if he's out, I don't see the Kyle Lowry miracle game versus Celtics. Their game plan was too good tonight. And then obviously I agree with everyone. If it gets to 7, it should just send to the next series. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's something I kind of want to pivot with you, Tony, here. So regardless of who they play, right? I mean, we both think maybe Celtics are going to pull this off, but as I look back in the other series for Denver, I looked at Jokic and Murray. So Jokic and Murray just averaged 60 points between them in the Lakers series. Jokic averaged 32 and a half. No, Jokic averaged 27.8 and Murray averaged 32 and a half. Same with the last series. They both averaged 60, and I think the Minnesota, they averaged like 57. So it comes down to, are they going to get the production from Porter, KCP, Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown? They need 3 of them 4 to get in that 12 to 15 point range, right? I don't see either team honestly slowing down Denver's offense is really high powered right now, right? Like, you got to be watching this team, Sam. Like, this is fun, bro.
I agree, but I mean, I feel like Boston has more firepower. Like, I feel like if Boston is cooking offensively, I feel like they have more weapons in terms of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Derek White.
But Gary, Tatum and Brown are going to average the same amount of points and production as Jokic and Murray. I mean,
okay, so
Jokic, you get the nod.
Then you have
Bruce
Brown and Aaron Gordon, who are going to give you 25 together.
Well, Porter, KCP are both averaging 14 to 15 points a game throughout the playoffs, and then
basically you're Derek White and Marcus Smart, and then it's going to come down to who Boston can get, like you said, to match Bruce Brown.
I think Denver is a better defensive team than both. I'm watching this team; they're playing tremendous team defense.
I don't think Boston's that good defensively. They're just high scoring.
And the Lakers are good defensively. I think the Nuggets are, man. They had you have to look back at Jokic from who did Denver beat in the second round? Why am I Phoenix?
Yeah, that was.
So he plays Rudy Gobert in the first round. More weapons than who? Not Denver. See, Gas is on. I'm on Gas's side here. I think the role players of Denver are more consistent than the role players from either of the teams available. No team has ever pulled it off, though. I get the momentum. These dudes go cold shooting, forget about it. I mean, that's the league, Mike. I mean, teams are going to fire away. The one thing, but the one thing I'm getting at with Denver, though, is the consistency from and it hasn't been just those 3 guys. They've gotten it from Bruce Brown. So you don't need it guaranteed from your 3 guys. You have another 1 or 2 guys that can get you to that 10-point range. Are they just going to run 7, 8-man rotation, Tony?
Yeah, 7.
That's the way it seems in the playoffs. It seems like.
So you think 7 in the finals?
Yeah, maybe a Christian Braun quick appearance, but Yeah, most likely it's just heavy Brown minutes and then a spurt of Jeff Green.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically.
Jeff Green's been getting a little bit of. He's been playing what they need him. Gritty defense. Denver has the best role players in the league this year. See, I don't believe that, but he did say Jokic makes them better. And let me just read off Nikola Jokic's stat line. Like this is real life.
Yeah, I'm
In
by no
the
way
series.
hating the Nuggets, nor do I think the Nuggets
Oh, I
lose
know.
to the Celtics in the finals. I think the Nuggets beat the Celtics in 6 games, but I think it's all going to be good games. I don't think the Nuggets kill the Celtics. I think they're all going to be good quality games.
I agree with that. And Tony, you had said something that too. You think Boston puts up a good battle against Denver too? You think they match up well?
Yeah, I do. I think I do think they can keep games close. They'll throw different bodies at Jokic. They'll probably do Horford, then throw some Grant Williams to rough him up.
Yeah, he
Some
got no.
double
He's a
team,
baby.
some double teams. Yeah, but he'll get crushed. But it will be more so just like trying to make him work hard.
See, I think
Type of
that
thing.
Tony. Now, if they're going to have to play Robert Williams on the floor with Al Horford, I mean, you have to. Jokic is going to. He might average 20 rebounds a game, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I
There's
think you
no
just. I
height.
think
There's
you.
no height.
I think you live with it. And I don't think you could play the two bigs, at least not to start. But then if obviously Denver
Grant
kills
Williams.
them on the glass, then slide Robert Williams in.
My man Thomas Gas is pumped up, bro.
He should
My
be.
man he's so pumped, bro. He knows. He's been fucking messaging me over the years. Last couple years, Denver's been in the mix, and I've been Team Denver. I told you guys before. I bet them twice. The last 2 years to win the finals, and of course I didn't this year because I'm a fucking jinx mush. Um, but I'm okay with that. I've come to accept that in my life. But I'm happy to see this team get to that point. KCP has been unbelievable for them. Um, he knocks down big shots. He's not afraid to shoot. He's always locked and ready to roll, and he's a good defender. And he's a perfect complement to Murray, right? I mean, capable of 38 minutes a night, and he ain't playing with an ankle monitor no more. So he's got that going for him. Brandon Tatum will fail game 6 or 6. Please go cold Heat in 6. Mike Robb still feeling the Heat in 6. I'll make sure I message him after the show to make a friendly wager with him. I got to
I think
take notes of
it's
that.
definitely possible. Boston's style, if they go heavy to Brown or Tatum to try and let them carry the team. Tatum's already shown he can go 1 for 12 from 3 and shoot you out of a game. And coming into tonight, Jaylen Brown was 2 for 23 in his last 25 3-pointers before tonight's game. So I mean they've been playing bad, and that's why they were down 0-3.
And Gary, that's where I think it hurts them in the next series, even if they get there, because Denver they don't have that. They just keep coming, bro. They're downhill. That's why the Lakers couldn't keep up with them. They just, every single time the Lakers got a big basket or were on a little run, bang, somebody came right down the court and made a big shot. Whether it was obviously.
You were talking about that during the series. I mean, that Denver was shooting so good, and the Lakers were still in games. The Lakers competed in that series. Like, yeah, it was a sweep. Those games were competitive for the most part. So, I mean, you're going to go against Boston, who's also a 3-point shooting team. So if they're hot, they could easily go up too, But that if they're cold, or Miami, same thing. Miami, if they get Tyler Herro back, That's a big help.
Yeah, I don't think Miami can. I don't think they can even come close. I think that might be. You might have to keep that broom behind you for next week, bro.
I know. I just try to talk myself into still getting excited if that happens to be the NBA Finals. Like, yeah, I think it's going to be a smacking. I think Denver crushes Miami if that happens, if that matchup happens. But, I mean, I still try to talk myself into it possibly being a good matchup.
Do you know why I'm smiling? Because I'm thinking about that Jokic picture of him as like a little fat kid. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that little fat kid's the best player in the world. I'm fucking dead at that. Bro, he averaged, the biggest thing about that series and the Nuggets advancing that I take from it, right? I take the fact that AD, everybody puts him in that top 20 player list in the NBA. Some people might have him even higher than that, but top 20 player and Jokic,
top 5, top 10.
yeah, but Jokic isn't known for his defense, but AD had I think one good offensive game. One, there it is.
And it was game 1, I think.
Yeah, it was. I know he battled in the rebound, but Jokic 27.8 points, 14.5 rebounds, 11.8 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.3 blocks. On AD.
Davis, the stats for the series?
On AD. Tony, what can't this man do? They gave him Rudy Gobert in the first round, and he said, thanks for playing. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Look at this kid. He's the best player in the world. Loves Oreos.
He used to drink at least a liter of Coke a day or something.
Probably had you in his water bottle. But it don't stop him from knowing where the ball goes. He threw. I'll tell you what. Going back to the Lakers series, between them and the Lakers, because LeBron James is still a literal master with the basketball in his hand. But Jokic, talk about putting balls where nobody else can even fathom. He just knows where everybody's. It's like watching a quarterback play football.
That's why I like the KCP signing is he knows exactly where to be at all times. So it's just like gives Jokic another guy to look for. Like that's where they were missing last year. They had Will Barton who would be isolation, and like KCP's basketball IQ with Joker is just unmatched.
Yeah, he's great off ball. What's up, Gary?
Joe? I said, you know where KCP came from to Denver?
Washington? Lakers, then he went to Washington, right?
Yeah, of course we would trade him there for Will Barton, who he was just talking about.
Putting balls where no one else can fathom. That's a JB. Yeah, that's a Joey.
For like KCP.
Will Barton is literally a G League All-Star playing in the NBA.
Yeah.
That dude, bro. Bro, I play 5 guys better than him at the LA Fitness basketball gym. Can I come?
When he wanted to get bought out by the Wizards were like, gladly.
Thomas Gass says, can I please get on this show when the finals matchup is set? I've watched 90%. Thursday, bro, next Thursday, you're on the show. No doubt. Come on, give us 15 minutes. I'd love to hear from an actual Nuggets fan. Like, we're basketball fans. I watch Denver. Tony watches more basketball than anybody that I know. And that you're on the show next week, hands down, 100%. I'll make sure Josh gets in touch with you as soon as the show's over, because we do appreciate it as we try to build this thing.
20 years, man. He's good people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've known him forever.
Wow, that's pretty dope. I didn't know that. I just thought he was an annoying Denver Nuggets fan over
like 20 years.
Oh, that's the shit. That brings it all together. I wish I would have known that. I would have brought him the fuck on tonight.
Yeah, we met playing back in the day.
That's dope, bro. So listen, we're talking about the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, we're gonna have way more to talk about next week once we know who who their matchup is. Thursday night is game one, so we'll be going live as soon as game one's over. That'll be a lot of fun. But I want to stay on the Denver Nuggets because an all-time great basketball player retires today. Well, yes, a couple days ago, right? He's an all-time great scorer, one of the best I've seen do it. Carmelo Anthony retires from the NBA. I made this graphic yesterday. Just some things that made me think of the guy because I do respect him, even though I have a different take on his career than most. Tony G, I know you've been following Carmelo's entire career also. I know all the way back to high school. Where are you with this guy? Yes, he had tremendous success for Team USA. Yes, he had success in college. But on the pro level, he was able to do too much when he was drafted by Denver. He had to be the superstar out of the gate. And he was capable of it. He was very good. But as his career progressed, I think he lacked the maturity to become a winning basketball player. And he never got to that pinnacle that he did at his younger career when he was dominant at Syracuse, right? Now that he's not going to play again, and you don't have to hear people say, I think that, such and such and signed Carmelo. Like, shut up. He hasn't been good in 5 years. It was so annoying. But now that it's an afterthought, how do you define Carmelo's career at first glance of his retirement?
It's hard to I was gonna say disappointment, but I'll just say he didn't hit his ceiling. But I also now thinking about it, I used to just say oh, he's wasn't a winner, but then I remember the Nuggets teams he was a part of, George Karl. I think if the scenarios were different, he could have bought in because I've seen him play with Team USA. He's one of the most unselfish, just played his role. But his Denver was a mess. And then during the Knicks era was just he was not great during the Knicks. He had 2 good seasons, and then I feel like they were, they weren't never competitive. So it was just I don't know. It was just then the tail end of his career was whatever. He's just trying to figure out a role he could play in this league still. But yeah, I don't know where I would have him ranked all time.
I mean, he was a great isolation scorer, right? I mean,
yeah,
great
one-on-one scorer.
Yeah, I mean, that might have worked in Jordan's era, where you gave the guy the ball, you got the fuck out of his way, you let him get his buckets, and then you grind out wins on the other end, and blah blah blah. But as the league was progressing, you had to, if you look at some of the teams that were coming up when his teams were, I mean, they were all-time great teams, So like you said, he also did step into a role at a bad time in his career, where other teams were way more advanced. Gary, I know you're a Carmelo fan too. We had a nice heated debate this week in our group chat. Very heated, but it was a good one. The New York Knicks flirting around the possibility of retiring Carmelo Anthony's number 7. Me and you agreed out of the gate, and then you seem to be pivoting in the other direction of maybe they should retire. Where are you with this? Because I want to bring some things up, but I want to know where you're at with this right now. Because you started on one side, and then it seems like you're being pushed to the other. So I'm kind of I want to see where you're at.
Yeah, no, I'll get to that in just one sec. Like, just to touch on something that, like, you and Tony, similar to what you guys were talking about. Like, with Carmelo, like, I personally don't think his legacy is totally defined on winning, per se. He's, like, look at him, like, he played a different position than Allen Iverson, but their careers are similar. Like, very good scorers, very flashy players, sold a lot of jerseys, sold their own shoes, they were fan favorites. Unfortunately, the winning didn't happen. So, I mean, I would say Carmelo's probably like a top 50, 75 player of all time, maybe even a little higher. He's a top 10 scorer of all time. That's hard to do.
Yeah, he's definitely top 75. There's no doubt there. But
as for his jersey getting retired, the only reason I think that, like, yeah, I guess he should is because, like, he's a Hall of Fame player. Like, his jersey's got to get retired somewhere. And unfortunately, Jokic is making it impossible for it to be retired in Denver because they played with the same number. They're both number 15. Jokic is probably the better number 15 now in Denver. And if he wins a title,
no doubt.
You know what I mean? Like, he owns number 15. People might forget Carmelo Anthony's number 15 in 30 years. But in New York,
maybe in 2 years.
in New York was so bad for that time. Like, and then he brought them hope of winning, I guess. It didn't necessarily turn out for them, but he was good there. He scored a lot. He went to the All-Star every year. He was a good player, a great player. He was still a top 10 player in the league for a while in his prime. And I would understand why they'd want to, retire his number, retire his jersey.
See, I agree with Tommy G. Tommy G just said,
I'm not saying
I got some slack in
but I'm not against it happening.
No, for sure. And I know that there's reasons why they should, but I just want to touch on what Tommy G said. He said that Nikola Jokic has already surpassed Carmelo and as a Denver Nugget. And back-to-back MVPs. I mean, this run right now is unbelievable. And I know Carmelo went to the Western Conference Finals too, but Jokic is already, you got to take potential in the play here too. Like, this isn't Jokic's last season. He's got 6 more years in front of him at least, barring injuries and stuff. Like, he's
the want or desire to adapt to playing to
team
his team.
ball.
Yes, to team ball, to, like, adapting to his
exactly
teammates.
Like Allen.
Like, people can't you can't say that Carmelo wouldn't be a great, like, off-ball scorer. Imagine, like, him getting like in the corners, plays ran for him to be in the corner and getting the ball passed to him, but he needed the ball for 18, 19 seconds of the 24 seconds to create himself a shot rather than learning plays and helping his teammates take some assists. But that's besides the point. That was always his downfall.
So, Tony, going off this Knicks number 7 thing or number 7 thing here, he finishes with a 1-6 and 216 all-time record as a New York Knick. He finished under 500 and only won over 40. He only won over 37 games once. And no, he won 37 games once. He won 54 games, and everything after that was under 37 games. How does a guy, top 10 scorer in Knicks history, Josh writes, how does a guy who had 1 playoff series win, 7-14 all time in the playoffs, how is that? Doesn't that diminish a retired number? Like, isn't a retired number like a legacy thing?
Depends on the team.
Yeah, like, it depends. Like, Nick Collison's his was retired just because he was, like, the first player of the franchise. Like,
yes.
The team retirements aren't that hard to get.
Okay,
there are some guys who that if you really go and search, you'd be like, wow, they have their jersey retired. Like, that's
like, for instance, I think John Wall's going to end up getting his jersey retired in Washington. Do you think that that's more deserving than Carmelo Anthony getting his jersey retired in New York? Yeah,
absolutely. And there's a point I want to make on this. I understand if Carmelo was drafted by New York, like that would make sense to me if he played his first 7 years there. And I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, like, you know, if he plays 7 years in the middle of his career or at the beginning, but it's like it's not even like he was drafted and they had this hope for him to be there. I mean, they traded a team with actual momentum. They were starting to build something in New York. They had a big crowd brewing. They were starting to be fun again to watch. They had like Gallinari, and I think they had J.R. Smith too at the time. I have to really think about that roster, but I remember them trading a lot to get him. And back at other New York Knicks who have had their number retired, one-time NBA champion, played 10 years there. Earl Monroe won a championship. What?
I was saying, can you find like any NBA players that have their jersey numbers retired with a losing record? Like that'd be like a weird stat to look up. But
I mean, I'll have to hire a statistician for that. But everybody that won championships, or everybody that got their number retired, they're NBA champions for the Knicks, except for Patrick Ewing. But Patrick Ewing was drafted there and spent 15 seasons there.
Leading scorer in Knicks history.
I'm really like, this is feeling like a participation trophy to me. Do I think Carmelo's number is capable of being retired? Yes, if you break down his entire career. College, he was great. He was very good in Denver to start, and then his career kind of diminished, but he still had team success with Team USA. But to say your number's retired as no other Knick can wear Carmelo's number? Come on, man. That is ridiculous to me, bro.
But I mean,
that's ridiculous.
I don't have them offhand, but look up his career as a Knick, and like, did he ever win the?
Yeah, I wrote all shit down.
How many times did
he won the title 1 year?
How many years?
All right, so he was on every All-Star team.
Points in a game for the Knicks. I more think it's the fan base. They like that he still shows up. Like he kind of acts like he is a Knick for life, Carmelo.
And like Coleman,
the fans appreciate that. Like he was at their playoff game this year. I've seen some fans say the game he got traded there was like one of the greatest moments in Knicks history. So like I don't know, the Knicks fan base wants him in, so I don't see any problem with it.
He averaged 24 points a game with the Knicks. He was an all-star all 6 years, but I understand it's an individual award, like an individual thing to get your number retired, but like he wasn't even good defensively. Like he was a competitor, but he wasn't even good defensively.
Did he go to the playoffs at all?
He went to the playoffs multiple times, but he has one playoff series win. He lost, I think, 3 other series. But he was 7-14 all time.
That I think about it, I kind of agree with you.
I mean, like to me, it's like no, like
6 years isn't long enough to really garnish a jersey number retirement.
It'd be different if you made a finals run or something, right?
It's one thing if you're the Thunder. You don't have much of a history. You want to kind of get some numbers in the rafters. But you're the New York Knicks. You got a big history. And you're kind of...
Earl Monroe, Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, NBA champions with... I mean, some of them guys had like 6-7 seasons too. But they won champions. Like they were part of a championship team. Carmelo wasn't even part of a playoff run team, bro. Team
You could
sport. I
do,
don't cite
like
team
a
record.
Ring of Honor, like how other teams have like a Ring of Honor with the names in them, like as opposed to not just because you're in the Ring of Honor doesn't mean you have your number retired.
I would rather him retire
They're
Jokic's
recognized.
number right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could do that.
Just I'm ready to blow a gasket again. I lost my.
Now that we're at this point, I mean, we still got a
Oh,
little
God.
bit of time, I'm guessing. But who
Yeah,
are
we
some
got some.
players currently, like around Carmelo's level, maybe a little better, that you think they deserve their numbers retired somewhere? Close to
Like, that's
like
a good Tony. Tony, go ahead, Tony.
Paul George.
I want to hear this, Tony. It's a good question.
Yeah, you said Paul George in Indiana. Yeah, I'm down for that one.
That's like a decent one.
Yeah, it's a real go. I wouldn't have thought that, actually.
Westbrook in Oklahoma City is probably a for sure, right?
That's a shoe-in. Yeah, that's a shoe-in. That's a good one.
Where's
Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler in Miami.
I think KD should be OKC, but we'll see.
Well, Jimmy Butler in Miami, yeah, that'd be good. KD, OKC.
Yeah.
KD and OKC.
Does
James Harden
retired anywhere?
James Harden in Houston, bro.
No, that's another one. He's similar to Carmelo.
He's so much better than Carmelo Anthony.
It's not about him being better. It's about he's moved around and where has he actually stayed and made his legacy. Like in Houston, he was great, but they didn't win shit.
But they at least were competitive though.
Carmelo was competitive a little bit.
No, he was not competitive in New York at all. Not at all. Like that's what I'm trying to like hammer home to people is like they were so bad. I don't think people really are remembering how bad the Knicks were.
Yeah, Houston was Harden's legacy for sure, but
he won MVP there.
Is his number going to get retired in Houston?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. If it isn't, I might go crazy.
Because he averaged 36 one year, 34, and then
how about Golden State?
Won a ton of playoff games.
You got to retire all three.
I think 4 gets retired. I think Iggy.
Iggy, you think Iggy?
You got to retire all 3 of the numbers.
Yep.
You're saying retire Iguodala?
Steph, Clay, and Draymond
on top of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Iguodala might get his number retired there, man.
I don't think so, man. That's like Haslam. No offense. The last 2 years.
Well, the last championship, he wasn't.
He was important for a couple of them, no doubt.
You might be right, Gary. Gary might be right, Tony.
He won MVP. He won P. Like Sean Elliott's jersey's retired. Iguodala is just a better career than that.
How many years? I got to look that up. Sean Elliott up.
All time, though.
What'd you say?
Sean Livingston almost won that MVP.
You on board with Iggy's number retirement? Yes, Josh. Yes, I am on board with Iggy's number retirement over Melo's. Bro, Carmelo won one play. I need to say this again. He won one playoff series. He didn't even average 25 points a game, and he was horrible defensively.
I feel like you would say that Kawhi should get his number retired in Toronto.
No. He did Toronto dirty, bro. He did Toronto dirty. I'll never forgive him for it, bro.
I do think a Toronto Raptor will get his jersey retired, though. I think Kyle Lowry will.
DeRozan.
Kyle Lowry.
DeRozan.
Yeah.
Both? Kyle Lowry, I agree with, Tony.
DeRozan, I hope so, but I think Kyle Lowry definitely will because he won with them, and his win percentage on the Raptors is like unbelievable.
I want to touch on something. I seen Coleman comment that Patrick Ewing never won a championship, but Patrick Ewing played 15 years there and was drafted by the franchise, and he went to multiple serious playoff series contending player. like multiple times. Like, I don't even know if that's even debatable.
Well, it's like Kevin Garnett with Minnesota. Never won a championship there.
Yeah, but they were deep. They were going deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Garnett is infinitely better than Carmelo Anthony in basketball.
Yeah.
If you gave me 100 drafts and I came up to who am I going to take, Garnett or Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter who else I drafted before. I would take Garnett every time and say, I don't care if my lineup's fucked up. That's how much, and I'm totally biased. I've hammered Carmelo for the longest time because, you know, it was disappointing because coming out of college, I really liked him. But if he's going to be mad at anybody, he's got to be mad at the Detroit Pistons. I will never forgive the Detroit Pistons for not picking him.
Took Darko.
They took Darko over Carmelo with that roster. Do you know how much better Carmelo Anthony would have been?
He would have been forced to play team basketball.
He would have got his ass beat if he didn't.
He would have learned immediately.
Bro, that Pistons team, I actually want to go back and look at who they actually had at that time. Melo on that roster would have been a dynasty. Yes. Isles, you are.
Phillips, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince.
Maybe. Was it when they had everybody still?
It probably did. That was like 03. That was 03.
Yeah,
So it was right after they won the title or got beat.
They would have prolonged that team, man. Carmelo would have been the offensive guy. He would have been he would have been able to play that 90s basketball. Let the one dude score 35 points, and we're going to hold the other team to 70.
That's what that Pistons games were crazy, man.
They made it
81 to 67. They would win.
And I think Carmelo's defense would have been better there. I think the Pistons would have been able to make up on the rest of the defense to hold his own because Carmelo was a competitor. This isn't me just bashing him. I mean, it does feel like that, right? I don't feel like I'm being fair here.
He got put into certain positions that allowed him to develop bad habits and be a good basketball player in his own way. And like you said, if he got drafted to Detroit, it would have been better for him as a basketball player because he would have been forced to develop in other ways. George Karl, I mean, look at those Nuggets teams. Who are the better players that played with him? J.R. Smith, another.
He had Chauncey. He had Iverson. He had Kevin Martin or Kenyon Martin.
Iverson got worse when he went to Denver, but
but he still had 25-point season there.
Yeah, but I mean, Kenyon Martin, he was. If you put him in today's league, how would that work out? He couldn't. He wouldn't do that well.
Yeah, I agree with that, but
big dunker, J.R. Smith was another ISO player, free-flowing three-point shooter. Billups was older. Yeah, he had to create for everybody. But Carmelo was put in positions where he could just score 30 points, shoot the ball 30 times, and score 29 points.
Kenyon Martin had some pretty deep playoff runs of his own, though, after he left Denver.
Yeah,
he went to New Jersey.
With Jason Kidd, and, he played with teams that played team ball, not where they had a star who could shoot 30 times. George Karl coached that way.
Carmelo had help. Let's not pretend the dude didn't have help in his career. He had help. When he went to New York, he'd slimmed down. He had Porzingis right out of the gate, right? I believe Porzingis and Carmelo played, right, together?
It's just the coaches that he was with, and they allowed him to do what he wanted. He was never with a coach that forced discipline.
Tony, did you know that Bernard King played less seasons for the New York Knicks but had more 40-point games than Carmelo by 6? He had 23 40-point games and Carmelo only had 17.
Yeah, see, I knew there was those 5.
Nope,
Darvin Ham.
Darvin Ham. And Mehmet Okur. I remember them.
I'm won a championship.
Yeah. We're just under that 60-minute mark. So I want to close out the show, but I want to just run real quick couple things by you. The number 1 pick in the draft played basketball today, and my man Tony G, I know, was watching him. He was locked in today. Tony, tell me what you said about his prospect today. You said something to me, and I said, I can't believe Tony just said that. What did you say about Victor today?
I mean, he's the best defensive prospect I've ever seen, and
Best defensive
no one's
prospect
going
you
to be
ever
able to
seen.
guard the kid. Ever seen? Not even close.
Wow.
And then
Do you think?
if you gave me the Will Smith Men in Black, and you said, and I
Best
didn't know,
defensive
and
prospect?
I didn't know and I didn't know LeBron's career, I would pick Wemby over LeBron. If
Well,
I
that's
didn't
that's
know the outcome, but
yes, obviously.
watching that, I watched. I even went back and I watched this, and I watched LeBron play, and watching this kid. It's got grown men, like guys who used to play in the NBA, high level, see this kid in the paint and literally turn around. And I don't like people say, oh well, there's no defensive three in European basketball, but it won't matter. He covers that much ground. He can get from the like one side of the 3-point line to the other in like 2 steps.
So when you say best defensive prospect, Gary even was like Gary. You could tell Gary was surprised you said that. Are you basing that off of his ability to cover multiple positions too? He's not. Is he going to play the 5 or the 4? You think?
Anything.
He's just the X factor.
Or yes, he'll instantly. I think he'll be like a top 20 player next year, like first season.
Wow, that's pretty bold, bro. That's bold as shit.
Like it's insane how the level of dominance he has in the French league. Like
Gary, Tony said the Spurs are 40 wins plus 650 on the sports book. He said he's staring at it like ready to click.
This man said Wembanyama makes him better than the Wizards out the gate. He's
better than anybody who's got. They got a better coach.
I have faith that Wembanyama is going to be good. Like, I just think that's a very bold statement, just because of the fact that, like, I still got to see it match up against NBA talent. Like,
is he going to play in the summer league?
No,
but I just want to see him play against NBA talent. NBA rules. Not that the 3-second thing matters to me. It's more so like players jumping into him, drawing fouls. Like, does he know how to stay straight up outside the paint? I want to see if he can keep himself out of foul trouble, if he can develop. It's a different game over here. So I just want to see how it all turns out.
So they play him like they'll play him like 16 minutes in a row and stuff. I get what you're saying. Like NBA, he has to stay out of foul trouble, but the thing is with his length, like if people try to jump into him, and he just he'll get off of them, and his length is that long.
He'll fade contact a little bit.
I'm super excited to see him, and I'm just hard. It's just hard. I'm a hard person to just give crazy credit out the gate without seeing somebody. I think he's by far number 1 pick, top
Gary
ever, but top
Gary.
That's big.
This is how Tony was acting about Luka too. He was actually worried about Victor 2 years ago too. He's been telling me about this kid.
Last year I was excited about Banchero. That was the guy that I thought, like, when he went number 1, people were surprised, and I was like, I thought he definitely should have been number 1 anyways out of that group. But
oh yeah,
agreed.
So as we keep punching through the shows, as the combine happens and the draft, we'll do a draft show also. So we'll make sure we touch back on Victor, and hopefully he makes a little playoff run with his team. I also want to touch on real quick. I'm trying to keep this under 2-3 minutes. LeBron mentions that he is going to contemplate retirement. We all know that that's not true. But we also found out that he was playing with a torn tendon in his foot. He ain't going nowhere, right? Like, okay. I know, Tony, you had mentioned if he really needed surgery and it looked like it would be like a lengthy return, you could see him possibly sitting out a season and then coming back and playing like 3 more years. Um, like, let's just not pretend that LeBron's last season isn't going to be like a celebrated feat. Like, you're going to have commercials and sneaker releases and everything humanly possible from every single arena in the league. So, I mean, we're just going to dismiss that, right? And are we in the unity here?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's no way he retires, but if he were to say, can't come, he's out for 9 months or 8 months, and then he wants to go play with his son, he just rest up and then, play another 4 years. There's 0% chance that was his last game ever.
Yeah, like Gary, I know you really want him to retire, but come on.
Nah, I mean, I don't.
No, I know.
I care
Yeah,
less
you
if
do.
he retires.
You want him to retire.
No, I don't care if he retires because I'm slowly seeing him turn into the Wizards Jordan. So I want to keep playing. I want to see it full blast. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't think he's gonna retire. And I think he was playing hurt, but don't be surprised if he doesn't end up getting some major surgery. It may be a minor surgery. He didn't play with no torn ligament. This guy's just getting your attention off of the sweep.
No, he's not.
He don't want everybody to talk about the Bruins.
Josh said the same thing.
Talking about retirement or was he hurt? Nah, he wants everybody to forget that he just got swept.
Like, people will say he got swept, but his whole season was a win this year. They started out 2-10. They had all these different players. They had a new coach, and then they got to they played the best player in the league, and they got swept.
And they were competitive, though.
When you're LeBron James, your season's not competitive unless you get to the finals.
He's 38 now, though.
It's not on him. He played great.
That's
amazing.
That's
LeBron played amazing.
Saying,
if I was LeBron, I'd want to punch Anthony Davis.
Oh, bro.
How are you in your prime and you're expecting my old ass to carry you every night? While you're 15.
All right, let's not talk about the Lakers because nobody wants to hear from about them. Jesse had enough. Gas had enough. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm going to even put the cover LeBron out of the thing. Here we go. I'm going to cover him. You know what I'm saying? So I want to – last topic. We'll keep it quick. I want to know your first reaction of the NBA put out a thing today, said that they're going to run a trial period in the Summer League. If you flop, it's a free throw technical foul, but it's not a technical. It'll just be a free throw tech. I don't know. What do you think? I mean – everybody complains about the refs now, like, oh, the ref favors this team or that team. And I just think that throws it in the mix. Like, I don't know. Can you really give somebody a free throw because somebody flopped? Like, can't they just get called for the foul?
This was the thing. I was literally a week ago. I forget who it was. I seen someone flop. I said, how is this not a technial?
You think it should be a technical?
For sure. Yeah.
Was it Joel Embiid?
No, it wasn't. But I'm just saying,
I'm dying.
He goes overboard. Some of the times in these NBA games, it's getting too ridiculous. Someone needs a tech to get to bring things back so that it's not all game. Once people start getting teed,
Harden's going to have some trouble then if that's a new rule.
I don't think that there should be something where you get a technical and a free throw every time. But like he's saying, you should be allowed to hit somebody with a technical. Like when somebody does one crazy dive, you should be able to set the tone of the game. Let the ref know, I'm not putting up with this shit today. And then
interesting.
All right, we can't be diving around our game.
Agreed. It's not going to be it's got to be blatantly obvious, and it's got to be just
flopping has become a part of the game, unfortunately. We all know
you're selling a call. It's not a flop.
We all know Harden does it. Marcus Smart is a huge one who's really bad at it.
They do it in football. They do it in soccer. They do it in every sport that you can get away
As much as LeBron says, "Oh, I don't flop," he's another big one that flops. But I'm saying it's not just him. It's not. It's a league.
It's a stigma in the league right now.
Kyle Lowry, like these guys sell some of the worst.
Jokic flops all the time.
Jokic flops. They all flop.
He's so fucking big. So once he goes down, it's like
it's more so
the GM or the owner of the Suns flops.
So it's gonna be more so for like blocks and charges type of flops than like if someone flails their arms, they're not gonna get attacked. The ref's gonna be like, "Stop doing that." It's more so
I can give you a tech.
Yeah, it's more so like when a guy tries to undercut someone dunking and then like doesn't get hit and he just falls down. It's like that's because like they had it in Europe. There was one season where they were calling it too much. Now it's great. Like it's only when it needs.
Yeah, there's always an adjustment. There's always an adjustment period.
Yeah, it's more so like when both teams are doing it, then they're like, all right, well, we gotta.
Hockey, you get a penalty if you get called for flopping, basically, to get a penalty. And another rule that I wish that they would bring to the NBA is similar to hockey, is where if you challenge a play and you don't get the challenge and challenge is unsuccessful, in hockey you get a penalty. But in the NBA, you should be allowed to shoot a free throw or something. Like, yeah, you just delayed the damn game, slowed momentum for a challenge. I should get a free throw. Not two, but maybe like one. Some sort of penalty if you fail your challenge.
Yeah, it makes you really want to use that challenge.
Yeah, it'll make you think twice instead of just burning it to burn it. Like at the end of the game, some coaches just burn it knowing that it's probably going to stay an offensive foul, but they just do it because they got one left. And they'll think twice before just doing that if it's going to cost them a free throw, because then they're going to expand the lead.
Yeah. So, last thing. Sorry, I said this was going to be the last, but I also just thought of something else. I seen that they also considering East versus West in the All-Star game again. I kind of like the draft, but when you tell me that they're going to go back to East versus West, I got kind of excited for it a little bit, actually.
I don't think there's anything that's going to get me excited for the All-Star game, and I don't think there's anything that's going to get these players excited for the All-Star game.
Yeah, you hate the All-Star game.
Until they put something like on the line. Like, I don't know, maybe the winner of the All-Star game gets home.
Whatever car they bring, they lose.
That's what we used to do. Like, but I mean, you're not going to get these players to go out there and play their heart out 5-on-5 with guys that aren't even their teammates, that they're not even going to play with in 3-4 days. They got to get paid some money to win, or that's just like the only way they're going to bring the dunk contest back alive. You get stars involved. Like, start calling agents and offering players certain amounts to participate. I mean, the NBA makes so much money. Make the All-Star game. I think Coleman used to talk about it. Make it like 3 versus 3 division games, like a division tournament. It's like put 6 players from each division. Then you got 24 All-Stars right there.
I don't know. That seems like it.
We got to get creative somehow to make the All-Star game fun. But how long am I going to sit there and watch them lob the ball? The most exciting part of this year's All-Star game was Tatum and Brown going one-on-one for 3 minutes.
Say what you want to say. You want the All-Star game to be competitive enough where you can gamble on it and not feel like you're getting ripped off.
No. But I'm saying, like, if you watch the All-Star game, it looks like
I'll take the over.
I agree.
It's a fun shooter.
This year was the first time I was like this. It got to a point where I didn't even enjoy it, and
they just took turns shooting. Like it was.
Yeah, so like I'm all for going back to East West. Don't even do the draft because the draft is pointless because of how bad the game is. What are we picking for? Jokic got picked last because it's not his game, because it's not real basketball. He don't jump. So, like, what's he going to do in the All-Star game?
Yeah. It's just not. It's going to take. Like, I think Gary's right.
He's the last.
It's going to.
Yep.
It's going to take some. It's going to take some creativeness to make it entertaining, I think. And I'm right there with you. But look, we went to an hour and 10 minutes, and I felt like it went by so fast. It's getting easier to do these shows with you guys. I hope we can keep it going. They're getting fun. We got some great comments tonight. Tommy G, see you next week, my man. Jesse, I appreciate you more than I could say. You're always in the comments on our Facebook page. You're always commenting on the show, and we do appreciate you. But Gary and Tony, I appreciate you guys even more, bro. Big time, bro. I love doing this show with you guys. Makes it super simple. Got the backdrop, got the microphone. I'm trying to build this thing up with you guys. I really enjoy it. And I got one more thanks, and it's not to God. This isn't the Emmys or the Grammys. I got to thank my man Josh. He's behind the scenes, but we got to get him on the camera soon. He's way too good looking to be behind the scenes. He puts us all to shame, bro.
He's a big LeBron fan. He's taking a week or two to recover.
He's the drafted one. We're the undrafted.
Yeah, he's the drafted guy.
Oh, dude, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
He's 6'5", and looks like Ken. He's the drafted one. That is great. That is great. So yeah, signing out. I ended every other show with fuck the Celtics, but I'm picking them to win. So if they win, it's a loss for me. So fuck the Celtics. Thanks for watching us. Undrafted Hoops, Facebook, YouTube, Undrafted Hoops _ on Twitter. Follow that shit. Share it. Tell everybody you know about it. We have fun covering the basketball. It's not all negative. You put on First Take in the morning. You put on anything on ESPN, Fox Sports 1, Twitter clicks, all these fucking personalities. It's all negative, begging for clicks. I'm begging to talk actual basketball with actual basketball fans. And we're going to do that next week. Tommy G, my man, look forward to doing it with you. Peace out. My eyes look tired.